Today is Wednesday, October 7th, 2020, and today I'm thinking about the race that is life and how it's an endurance race. And actually, it's a race that's already finished. The winners of the race have already won. It's just that we're waiting for the end now. And it's just a race of perseverance, of lasting until the end, an endurance race, but we're already at the finish line. And it kind of reminds me of how when you go to the movies and the movie's done and you want to get up and leave, but the people that you're with are the type of people that want to sit through all the credits and then see if there's some cheesy stuff after the credits. That's what it reminds me of. The movie's already finished, but the credits are still rolling and you're stuck there and you want to leave, but you can't leave yet. Anyways, here's Matthew chapter 24, verse 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. I think of it as like a race that's already finished because we already know the solution. We already know how to get out of here. We already know what we need to do. And all we have to do is just keep doing that and keep our mind focused on the truth and what's important. Just keep thinking about Jesus Christ and waiting for him to come back. Just keep your oil lamps filled with oil and keep waiting. We're already there. We're just waiting for the end now. It's not like a race where we're really far away and we have to get to the end line. It's that we're already at the end line and we're just sitting there waiting for it to be finished. Just for some context, just because I think that this is talking about today, or at least we see this today, a few verses before this one, Matthew chapter 24, verse 10 says, "And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another." It seems like we're there, where people get offended over just the most minor thing, and in an extreme way. It really seems like the castrato are the best at freaking out and being offended. You can get offended at anything. You're not allowed to have different opinions anymore without offending people. So here's just some more. Revelation chapter 3, verses 11 and 12. "Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown." So it's like we've already won, and we already have the crown, and we're just waiting, and we need to make sure that it doesn't get taken away. Or again, if it's like we're already at the finish line, but we're just waiting for it to be over, and we don't want to leave the finish line. You don't want to get distracted and go away. We need to stay where we're at. So verse 12, "Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new name." There's just a few verses in Revelation that just make me wonder about how strange it's going to be when it's all over and we don't have to care about any of this nonsense anymore, and things about us getting new names, and this makes it seem like Jesus is going to get a new name. How does it get written into us? How do all these things work? Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." Did you guys ever have flying dreams when you were little? I only remember having one flying dream when I was little, and it was really vivid, and I never dream like that anymore. Nowadays, my dreams are mostly just obnoxious and tormenting me. But I do remember having one flying dream, and if you grew up in the early 90s like me, maybe you remember this game, Magic Carpet. My flying dream reminded me of this game, where you were just kind of flying around. Anyways, it's just a fun thing to think about, that we probably will be able to fly wherever we want to. Revelation chapter 3, verse 11. There's this big idea of taking thy crown, and a kind of tangentially related subject that I should really research more is the idea of our horn. The Bible talks about people's horns being exalted, and similar to this is the crown. And of course, when you go off into the Kabbalah stuff, they always talk about the crown chakra and stuff. I don't believe in any of that. I do not believe that you should dive in to the intricacies. It's one thing to know your enemy and know their signs and symbols. It's a complete other thing to try to dive in and figure out the intricacies of that. I don't think we're meant to do that at all. Know their signs and their symbols, know how to point them out, but you don't need to go off and read their texts. I think that's satanic. But we have this idea of crowns, and look at these crowns here. They look like the sun. And crown, corona, has a connection to sun. History, I like the way that they stated this. History states that in ancient Greece, so just an appeal to history, beginning in 776 BC, which is 776 going on 777, 777, jackpot numbers. So the crowned victors. And yeah, just some ideas going on here. The corona, or civic crown. Another thing, when you think of people winning things, blue ribbon, you get a ribbon when you do the best at the fair, or nowadays for the Olympic Games, they don't give people crowns, they give them ribbons. Well, ribbon is 33 in Pythagorean. But then another interesting thing is that ribbon is 19 in Chaldean. And this is something that I really don't hear enough people talk about, and I just prefaced this with, you're not supposed to dive into the intricacies of what these people do. But 19 is the sun number, and that's probably why they call this novel, like a work of fiction. The 19 is big on this, and what do you know, Corona 19. One thing to notice about the sun is that it's a disc, it's not a ball. And it's a spotlight. It's not like a spherical light source. It's like a spotlight. But I thought that was really interesting how we don't give them crowns nowadays, but we give them ribbons. And ribbon is 19 in Chaldean. And we have that 19 corona crown connection through this. The sun is 19. There's some interesting stuff. There's this song by Slipknot, XIX, so 19, XIX, which is a palindrome, which is something that they love. People in control love palindromes, things that are the same forward as backward. There's this Slipknot song, which is 3 minutes and 11 seconds, 3:11, which is a 33 reference. This song is not for the living. This song is for the dead. And then there is just this, don't let this symbolism kill your heart. And the Slipknot band is telling them to walk with them. Like, they're trying to take you away from Jesus, these people. They're satanic. Everything in the media is satanic. Here's just another, I just knew about this reference when the XIX made me think of this Nina Hagen. There's this Nina Hagen song called Born in Xixxax, XIX. And we see more of this in the top left. It says attention in the beginning, and I guess that's an ampersand or something, and in the end. And there's the lightning bolt pointing up and pointing down. And it's just really interesting. I still cannot wrap my mind around, there's things, here you see stuff like, in the bottom left corner it says, well, I believe in Jesus. And I don't know what to say about that stuff. I guess it just goes into the Bible, how it says that even demons know that Jesus is the Son of God and is God in the flesh. Just something I still can't really wrap my mind around, how there's people in the media and even people in real life who claim to follow Jesus, but then they're a part of this satanic inverted cult, and it's just not something that I try to wrap my mind around. What might be a connection to the XIX thing, the 19 thing, I was just looking up stuff, and this came talking about Exodus 19. And Exodus 19 is when God comes down on Mount Sinai. So that's just an interesting 19 connection. That it's right before God gives the 10 Commandments. That's Exodus 20 is the 10 Commandments, and 19 is setting the stage. The mountain is burning with fire. And Anyways, you can go read that if you want. Exodus 19. Something kind of interesting is that what comes right after 19 is 20, which is judgment. And today we're in 2020, which is maybe a big reason of why this is such a big year. Judgment. Again, not something that I personally dive into or think that people should dive into at all, but the people that control this place, they do speak in signs and symbols, and to them this stuff is really important. And I think that there is a certain extent of knowing your enemy, but it's just, I never think that you need to spend a large amount of time diving into their texts and things like that. I just know that there are some truthers out there, alleged truthers, that it's like, wow, where do you even find these alchemy books and things like that? Why are you reading out of these strange alchemy books? Where did you even find that? How did you even know about it? There's a fine line between knowing their signs and symbols and understanding their symbolism and diving too deep into their occult practices. So here's just more from Revelation. Revelation chapter 22, verses 14 and 15. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. Something that I think is just missing big time from Christianity. It seems just like a very fringe thing. I know like one person in my life growing up who they were like, oh, my Christian parents won't let me watch any Harry Potter because they say it's witchcraft. I think of the Monster Energy laddie with the whole speech about how they're satanic and stuff. It just seems like really fringe, and it's easily played off as people that are like wacko. But it's one of those things that's just totally open in plain sight. These satanic people are everywhere, and they display their signs and symbols everywhere, and it's all out in the open, but you don't hear churches talking about this stuff and saying nobody should watch Hollywood because they're all Satanists, and clearly they are because they show all the same signs and symbols. To me, it's just, it shouldn't be fringe that Christians are calling out all the demonic Satanists, and every single church out there should be talking about this stuff, but it's just clear that they don't care, or they're a part of it. Again, I don't try to figure out people's intentions. It's impossible to figure out other people's intentions. But that's what the end of this video is talking about, that we are surrounded. We are in this race. You need to know the solution, which is Jesus Christ. And once you know that, it's like you're sitting on the finish line and you're just waiting for it to be over. And the only thing that you need to do is stay away from demonic temptations, to repent, to just constantly repent. And we just have to endure until the end. But the truth is that we are surrounded by satanic witches, wizards, sorcerers, necromancers. These things are real, and I just think that it's something that more people need to talk about, so that it's not these fringe, it's not something that you can just pass off as, oh, I knew that one kid in high school whose parents talked about this stuff being satanic. You need it to be like everybody knows about how this stuff is blatantly satanic. And he made his sons pass through the fire. Yeah, that's what the Ring of Fire is all about. Observed times and used enchantments and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. Here, King Saul, so different than Paul, then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. This stuff is real, and you still can find, every city has this little shack somewhere that does palm readings and tarot readings, and who knows how they pay their rent every month. They're just probably a part of the cult, and they get their rent waived. These people are everywhere, though, still today. Why do you think that newspapers talk about horoscopes? Why isn't there a bunch of newspapers out there that say, no, horoscopes are satanic? People claim that America is this Christian nation, okay, but then why do they push plastic Christianity so much. And then you just see, it's like everything else. It's a controlled opposition. Oh, we're America. We're a Christian nation. That's what they want you to think. But really what it is, it's just a bunch of wolves in sheep's clothing. And they're playing the part of the good guy, but really they're a snake. I'll just read this. It's interesting. From Deuteronomy chapter 18, verses 10 through 14. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a counselor with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord, and because of these abominations the Lord thy God doth drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God. For these nations which thou shalt possess hearkened unto observers of times, and unto diviners. But as for thee, the Lord thy God hath not suffered thee so to do. This is real stuff. This is not fake. And if you go on Amazon and you look up these things, I think they call them like spell candles or something like that, you'll find so many witches out there today, modern witches on Reddit. There's a big Reddit, witches for the patriarchy or something, I don't know. But there's a lot of people that are unironically witches today, and they're loud and proud about it. They don't even hide. So people try to pass this stuff off as archaic or phony. They love to make fun of this stuff. Think of the media about medieval times. Anything in the media about medieval times is really trying to prop up this phony version of biblical times. And notice how in medieval times they're constantly talking about people with these insane how to find out if somebody's a witch or not. They give us the Salem witch trials, which Salem is short for Jerusalem. Maybe wizards are these computer nerds, modern day wizards. They're coming out with this new thing, the black and white houndstooth covering the neck, witches. So a new witches. Anne Hathaway is a beast. Look at that armpit. Ugh. And of course, Angelica Houston these are warlocks, really. That's what I should be saying. That's a warlock. This is what a warlock looks like. They play the part so well, right? Because that's what they are. And remember in this, they're bald. Hormone abusers go bald. YouTube, I'm constantly seeing so many people on YouTube are into this stuff. And it's because we're just still there. I don't know exactly what to say about this other than people think it's all fun and games, but it's not, and it's actually deadly serious. And there's a fine line somewhere. So I'll go back. I don't know why my mind keeps going back to, there was this kid in my high school whose parents were talking about how Harry Potter's satanic and all that, and he would be a bad kid and sneak behind his parents and watch the Harry Potter films. And Free Martin, of course, ended up being gay. And it's just one of those weird things where I know that the parents were like, oh, the Harry Potter casted a spell on my son and turned him gay. I don't know exactly how this is all relevant to today's video, but I just know it is. There's this... The only people out there that are talking about how Harry Potter is satanic and stuff, they know about the cult, they know about the Orange 33 stuff, they know about the hormone abusers, they know about the intersex conditions. So why, when you have an intersex son who ends up being gay, why do you end up blaming that on Harry Potter? And not the larger system. I've mentioned before how people that are a part of the system, it's like they really like to go off and attack a single tentacle of the system, but they'll never expose the whole system for what it is. They won't explain why they know that Harry Potter really is satanic and evil. They'll never break it down into, well, everything is, and all the actors are, and they're all inverted skeletons, and it's just like they focus on this one thing. Oh, Harry Potter turned my Martin son gay. Some of this stuff is just so ingrained into us. This concept of luck, I believe, goes into divination. Lady luck, some strange goddess worship. All these trinkets. I didn't know a monkey wrench is supposed to be a good luck symbol. Going into, I haven't talked about it yet, but necromancy is another thing where they want you to think that necromancy is dead and gone, but necromancy has probably never been as crazy as it is today because of the help of modern medicine. What they do is they sell it to you as something very modern, and they sell it to you as something that's high tech, and that stops people from being able to tell that they're dealing with necromancy. How do I donate my body to science? This 87-year-old woman donated her body so doctors could slice her into 27,000 pieces. And 27 is a hidden 33 because 27 is 3 times 3 times 3, or 3 cubed. We see 27 a lot. Here's another thing where people, I don't know what they think. I remember when I was young, it seemed like there was discussion about whether or not this stuff was ethical. It seems like people were still talking about, well, is it ethical to do things like IVF? Is it ethical to choose the gender of your child? And nowadays it just seems like people just totally accept this stuff and don't even bat an eye. And people really support things like IVF, even though to me, it's clearly this satanic, just because you pretend that it's modern medicine and that it's scientific, that doesn't mean that you can just stop thinking about the ethics behind this. And I've already probably blabbed enough, but I just want to show more examples of things that are probably really deep down witchcraft, necromancy, sorcery, alchemy. Today, people just generally accept it. You might have people out there that talk about how Harry Potter is satanic, but they're not going to break it all down and talk and expose the entire system for how everything is satanic. Those same people who talk about how Harry Potter is satanic and turn their Martin son gay, they probably used IVF to have that child to begin with. So a bunch of hypocrites out there. There's tremendous attrition from egg numbers to blastocysts for transfer or freezing. Typically, it goes something like this: 10 eggs, 8 mature eggs, 6 fertilized embryos, 4 8-cell embryos, 2 to 3 blastocysts. Oh, there was something crazy here that I wanted to show. All the different genetic testing that gets pushed on people these days is, probably satanic divination. You're going to let some doctor stick a needle into your embryo, and then who knows what they do in the laboratory, and then they come back and tell you, oh, your child's going to come out a certain way. I don't really support stuff like that. There's just so much you could say about this stuff. I thought I had something here that talked about, they take biopsies of these little embryos, which is crazy. I don't know if it's here, but they talked about it somewhere. And just another thing, you know how zombies, they talk about zombies, they love the idea of cannibalism, and it's another thing that is actually alive and well, but they sell us this weird Hollywood skewed version. They sell us the weird Hollywood skewed version of witches to hide the witches that are all around you. And they sell us this idea of zombies eating brains, when the truth is that they're making a reference of HGH abuse, hormone abuse that they get out of people's brains to make the free martins really tall. Go look at Barron Trump, if you want to see what hormone abuse does to a little free martin or female. At that point, I think that the really higher ups are just cross-dressers. So in all likelihood, Barron is just a female on all sorts of hormones. Just my opinion. These are what warlocks look like. Time kills them all. These are what witches look like. Look, I tried to download this file, and the title, Leo Harry Transformation. They're obsessed with the words that they use, words, spells. There's a reason it's called spelling, spells. I'll just end with this. The way that you know what a witch looks like, a witch who's abusing alchemy, they get this sickly look around the eyes. Do you see how it's dark? Dark, smudgy, oily look around their eyes? I remember seeing boys, what I thought were boys, maybe free martins, what I thought were boys in high school. I always remember they had the soft skin, rosy red cheeks, and many of them looked sick in the eyes like this. Greasy, dark sickness in the eyes. That's from tea abuse. It makes them sick. Why do you think people get so many... There's so many people out there that talk about the PCOS that they have, and hormone issues. There's so many hormone treatment places. I laugh every time. There's this one billboard kind of near my house that's like, it's a billboard for a medical center about hormone levels, and just the creature on this billboard is so obvious. But anyways, you're surrounded by warlocks and witches, and they practice alchemy. It's just hormones. And it's been going on for a long time. It's not high tech. They used to do this stuff just by boiling horse pee. And who knows how they used to get HGH and stuff like that. But do you see the eyes? The eyes are the window to the soul. And you can tell the hormone abusers by their eyes. Alright, this has been quite the ramble. I guess I just had some things to say and to ramble about. So I hope you enjoyed this video. God bless everyone.